Hello, beautiful, amazing family. My name is Regina, or the Vegan Antidote, and I'm back today to make a video. We're going to talk about frequency, vibration, and energy. And what I have here, I created a scale for us. I'm pretty much working with what I have, right? Okay. And the scale is energy, vibrations, and emotions. And there's three different groups here. Force, helping, giving, integrity, and spiritual. Okay, and we're going to be talking about low vibrations and higher vibrations, because it really does make a big difference in your life what frequency you're on. The aim is to become unconditional love, vibrate at a high vibration, which is love, joy, harmony, being at peace, gratitude, and all of the above. Okay, so let's get into the low vibrations, which is weakness. You know, we've been taught to think that, the fight and anger and all that, those types of emotions, we've been, taught to think that, that it's okay. Okay, so let's talk about shame. Okay, so if you're walking around in life or just feeling shame, you are vibrating at 20, which is the lowest vibration on the scale, is shame. Okay, next we're going to talk about, and notice these are still the same colors for dealing with the chakras. With the lowest chakra being the root chakra, shame, guilt, apathy, grief is red also. So you're at the bottom of the totem pole, and which is okay, because it can always be reversed, because in order to get to the light, you have to go through darkness first, right? To get to the light, we have to go through darkness first. So it's okay. But shame is a 20. So let's get rid of the shame. It's fuck everybody. Don't be shamed. It is what it is. Okay, now let's talk about feeling guilty. The feeling guilty is also a very low vibration on the scale. You're resonating at 30, which is a very low vibration. So forgiveness will really help you to get rid of guilt. And especially if it's something that happened in the past, it's the past. It's no longer real. It doesn't exist anymore. But each and every time you relive past things that happened to you in the past, old traumas and things like that, each and every time you revisit those thoughts, your mind take it as being real, happening right now. So anything that happened in the past, leave it in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. It's forgive, not saying that you're gonna forget, but please forgive, because you liberate yourself and your soul also. So always forgive. And we're spiritual beings, we're spiritual beings living this human experience. So forgive. You know, we got to, get rid of the guilt. Okay, and then the apathy. Apathy is the meaning of apathy is to no enthusiasm, not wanting to do anything. You just, pretty much setting away is okay with being where you're at, not trying to grow, no motivation, no type of enthusiasm. And grief, also, you're resonating at a 75. And when we're living in the lower vibrations, this is called survival mode. Or force. You're stuck in your root chakra. Okay, and fear, 100. And also get into shadow work. Go to Google and look up shadow work and get into shadow work, because the only way you're going to get rid of your fears is just to face it head on and pretty much work through it. Desire is also a lower vibration. Desire is to demand. It can be sexually or emotionally. Anger, we all know what anger is. Get rid of the anger. And meditation will help you move through, get rid of the anger also. Because if you're being stuck on these lower vibrations, you won't be able to step into this new 5D world that exists. The world, the atmosphere, the universe resonates resonate at a lower frequency. And if you're not vibrating on that frequency, then you're not able to experience it. Because everything, if you're living in anger, if you're living in fear, so you're pulling more of those situations to you. Okay, vanity. And we're not talking about the bathroom vanity or your makeup vanity or anything like that. Vanity is the spiritual, or the spiritual meaning behind vanity is conceited, or to think you're better than others. It can also be a form of narcissism. Okay, that is vanity. That's a low vibration. It's okay to want to look good and feel good, but sometimes we overdo it. Boldness. You're resonating at a 200, which is also a low vibration. And each one of these emotions turn into some type of illness inside your system, inside our bodies. So it's good to it's okay, we're gonna get mad, but transmute the energy. Find small things to be grateful for, and it'll automatically transmute the energy and lift your vibration. Boldness is, it's okay to be bold, but sometimes this boldness is talking about, sometimes we can say things and it can hurt someone's feelings. That's disrespectful. It's to speak and not care or think about how you're going to make the next person feel. And all of this is what we call survival mode. You're living a manipulative lifestyle here. You're forcing your way. And some of the other lower vibrations: stress, envy, doubt, deceit, judgment, fear, guilt, demanding, denying, anxiety, blame, regret, hate, scorn, disappointed, condemning, pride. All of this is a form of weakness. It resonates in our bodies as weakness, and it keeps us in a lower state, and it stops us from reaching a higher vibration. Okay, and now we're getting to neutrality, which is pretty much neutral. You're not taking sides. You're neutrality. You're neutral. You're not judging anything, whether it's good or bad. You're not taking anyone's sides. You're neutral. Readiness, being ready. The willingness to perform and act, on go. Ready. That way you don't have to ever get ready. Okay, adoption is oneness. I'm going to use oneness. We're all God's one big family. Oneness. Mind is a rational thought. Mind can be judgment, opinion, intellect. All this covers mind. So once we, now we're talking about where you're stepping into your power, and you're raising your vibration. Once you this neutrality and above, boldness and down, we're still in a lower vibration, and we're working our way up the totem pole. It can always be reversed, but it's up to you. Sometimes we may wake up in the morning and the term, that person must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, and it's okay. When you wake up in the morning, just try and think about or sense what type of feeling or what type of emotion am I radiating right now, because it really makes a big difference. Like I said, what you put out, that's what you attract. So if you're all putting out anger, you're only going to draw situations or people that are angry into your life. What you put out is what you get back. Okay. We went over neutrality. All of this represents weakness. And it's okay, because it can always be reversed. That's what I love about this. In order to get through the light, we have to go through the darkness. We're healing ourselves, and everyone needs healing. There's no one that's perfect. I don't know anybody that's perfect other than God. We all have to start somewhere. And we have to go through the darkness before we can get to the light. Okay, love, which is you're on a high vibration, which is a 500. And this is you're stepping into your spiritual body or your spiritual mind. This is force. You know what level you may be on. Are you living in the force area right now? Living in survival mode, under stress, being judgmental, blaming others, living in regret, holding hate within your heart. You got to get rid of this. This is weakness. This is take your immune system down, take you out eventually. But like I said, it can always be reversed. Okay, and this is the spiritual bracket right here. You're resonating at a higher vibration. This is the power. You're strong. Once you reach this state, you're mentally resilient, or this is where your peace lies. Forgiveness, understanding, inspiring, compassion, complete, gratitude, loving, acceptance, trust, oneness. That's where your love, your joy, harmony, all of those positive emotions pretty much fall inside that bracket. And this raises your vibration. This raises your immune system, keeps you healthy. Not saying that you won't become ill, but if you do become ill, it might last for maybe 2-3 hours, 24 hours. Once you reach a high vibration, illness can't resonate inside a body that's full of love, full of joy, full of harmony. You know, sickness, or we don't use the word sickness, we use the word we're healing ourselves, or illness. It can't survive. It can only survive in a body that's in survival mode. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So if you want to figure out the keys to the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. Everything is frequency. The thoughts that we think, the food that we're eating, the emotions that we're feeling, everything is frequency. And also the foods that you're eating will also help you raise your vibration automatically. Because if you're eating animals, there's nothing wrong with it. You're eating death. It keeps you in a lower state. Pay attention when you're eating your food and how you feel after you're finished eating it. Do it make you feel like you want to lay down and go to sleep? Does it make you tired? Do it make you weak? Just start paying attention to the way you feel after you consume your food. It really makes a difference. And enlightenment, but this is pure consciousness, where you're aware of what you're thinking, you're aware of what you're feeling, you're aware of, you're just being. And that's a 700 to 1,000 on the scale. So you're at a very high vibration once you reach an enlightened state. And like I say, this is power. This is where you're powerful. And all the low-lying emotions, low vibrations, weakness. All of this is weakness. And it can all be reversed. You do not have to stay here. That's what's so great about this. You can always change it, but it starts with you. Like I say, when you wake up in the morning, think about, you can choose what emotion that you want to emanate. Do you want to be angry when you wake up in the morning? Because you can change it. You don't have to be angry. And diet has a lot to do with your vibration. Because if we're eating the processed foods and consuming the meat, and nothing's wrong with consuming meat, I'm not trying to get you to become a vegan, but if you would, that would be great, because that will automatically keep you in a high vibration, because most of the times meat is not, the animals, it's not the same as when our ancestors was around and taking care of the animals the way they were supposed to be taken care of. Now the animals, they're living in fear, they're being tortured. So when you eat these animals and and they're being slaughtered, you pretty much, because animals feel fear too. Animals also have a chakra system. So when we consume the animals, we consume their fear and, pretty much because they watch the other animals also be slaughtered also. So most of the time these animals are, sad, angry, and when we eat the meat or ingest our food, animals particularly, we also ingest their fears and their emotions too. It becomes a part of us. And 7-day vegan challenge, because in order to experience this, you have to, actually apply it. Stop eating meat for maybe 7 days and see the way your body feels and the way your vibration automatically lifts. And also eating the processed foods, because processed foods contains a lot of chemicals inside of the food, which also alters our mind and has a lot to do with the way we're thinking and our behavior. Okay, and so like I said, when you're living in the lower vibrations, this is force, this is weakness, you're living in survival mode, and most of the time you're living a manipulative lifestyle. So let's treat others the way we want to be treated. Let's forgive one another. Let's become unconditional love. Unconditional love is respect. Accepting he or she as they are, not judging, not talking against another. All of this is unconditional love. Give up the gossiping. Give up gossiping. Number one, that automatically raises your vibration. I'm trying to see, is there anything else that I would like to touch? Okay, this is also a nice read that can kind of help you out with the emotions and everything, because we're living in this beautiful 5D energy. But like I said, the frequency of the energy that we're surrounded with, like the air is just not this plain air that me and you, we're breathing in. It's information, it's love. It resonates at a loving frequency. When they talk about the Schumann resonance, or, when you hear those terms, they're talking about the universe, the whole. Like I said, it's just not air like the atmosphere. It's love. And if you're not resonating on a high vibration, like a loving vibration, you won't be able to experience it. And Mother Nature is cleansing herself right now. Anything that's not vibrating at a loving frequency, you won't be able to exist. Because if you're holding on to things like hate and disappointed, walking around blaming others for whatever happened to you. And I want to say one thing. God is love. God is an energy. They want us to think that God is something separate from us. We all carry a spark of God within us. God is not separate from you. Our body is our temple. This is God's house. So be careful of what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're putting inside of your bodies, especially things like alcohol and drugs. This also keeps you. That is also a part of weakness also. Like I say, this is God's house. Your body is your temple. So just be mindful of the things that's coming out of God's house, this beautiful temple. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of the words that you're saying out of your body. Be careful, be mindful of the emotions that you're radiating out, emitting out into the world. Emit love. Get rid of the shame. Get rid of the guilt. Get rid of the apathy. One of the things that really helped me was to not care about or not care or to think about what anybody think or has to say about me. That was one of my ways of getting over the shame, getting over the fear. Yeah, you gotta not think about what anybody has to say about you or think about you. Because if you care what people think about you or say about you, it's a form of weakness. And you can't grow. And you definitely can't lift your vibration if you're worried about what people think or say about you. Okay, so I just want to say and meditation would definitely help you get past these low-lying vibrations. Meditation destroys all of that. The meditations help you raise your vibrations, step into your power, and also your affirmations. Do not forget about your affirmations because we're reprogramming our mindset, and reciting those affirmations daily is going to reprogram your mindset and help you step into your power. We can't go straight to the light. We have to go through the darkness to reach the light. So it's okay, but it's up to you to want to change. Do you want to remain stuck in this lower state, in this 3D, or do you want to raise your vibration and experience the 5D? And with that being said, I just want to tell you one more time that your body is God's house. Your body is your temple. God is not separate from us. God wants the very best for each and every one of us. And I just want to say, treat others the way you want to be treated always in life. And I want to just thank you for watching my video. I love you, and I'll see you next time.